Toxic Avenger. It is a toxic Avenger. Toxic Avenger. Toxic Avenger. What's going on? Jazzy Jeff in the fucking house. It's been a while since I did a video, so I figured I'd make a big splash and make a nice, awesome fucking intro coming at you live from Jazzy Jeff's game room. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. You know, I wanted a little bit of background noise slash music. For the hardcore horror fans out there, you may recognize it. I'll give you guys a second to guess it. But it is in reference to what I'm going to talk about right now. So, give you a minute there. Let it sink in. So it's a little tough to tell. It's still early in the beginning of the song. But this is the soundtrack to Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2. Freddy's Revenge. However, the topic of this video is Nightmare on Elm Street, the series or the first film. Only because it's in reference to a piece of memorabilia for the film. I guess you could say this is another one of my thoughts video, so to speak. So this is Jazzy Thoughts, the next one, the second one or whatever. So, first I'm gonna get this thing off. There we go. See, this is great because it holds my robe together, but when I sit down, it feels like I'm sitting on a piece of rope, and I hate that feeling. Now, the point of today's video is new memorabilia versus old memorabilia. So, this unfortunately does not have an official year from when it was made, but looking at it, I'm almost certain that this is the 2000s. I wish I could say that this was the 90s, but I don't believe they started making stuff like this in reference to horror films. I don't believe they started making stuff like this until into the late, I mean the mid, you know, maybe early to mid 2000s, but it's pretty cool. This is a shot glass, of course, and it's got Nancy on there, and it's got the Nightmare on Elm Street logo on the other side. So pretty cool. This would be considered like a double shot, so to speak. And yeah, I mean, it looks pretty good. I will say it looks a little like this one looks pretty straight, and I'm holding this as straight as I can. If you look at this one, it almost looks like it's slightly off a little bit. Now, it did come with two. So I'm sure a lot of you are thinking, well, Jeff, just pull out the other one and we'll compare. Well, look at the other one. Now, this one was very straight. And when you held up the two shot glasses next to each other, you could clearly tell that this was curved. Which, right off the bat, is shoddy fucking work. But what makes this even shoddier, no pun intended because they're shot glasses, but shoddy, is the fact that I've only used these maybe 3 times, 4 times. I'm not a big shots person, so we're talking years go by in between the use of these. Like, I might use these once a year for a special celebration, or if I have friends over, maybe twice a year at most. And I've washed them before, but I'm usually pretty careful with them because, you know, you don't want to scrape them and wear them off. Well, I did leave this one in the sink, but it wasn't like the sink was filled with water or anything like that. Now, I did run water, and I ran some water inside, you know, to help loosen, you know, the sticky, you know, slash, you know, alcohol residue that can build up on the bottom of these because they're hard to clean. You know, it's hard to get your fingers in there, and you don't want to jam it and crack it. And it was maybe there, like I said, overnight. Woke up the next morning, did the dishes, and the whole fucking thing just came off. And then I turned it around, and I noticed that the other side was also starting to come up. Now, like I said, I don't know if that had anything to do with me leaving liquid in the glass. I don't know if that had anything to do with me leaving it in the sink. And like I said, the sink was not filled with water. The sink was dry. You know, it was just standing in the sink like that. And the whole damn label came off. So now I have one Nightmare on Elm Street glass, and then just your average standard shot glass that everyone else has. Because after the fucking label came off, I was so disgusted. I was like, well, I don't want a glass with half a label, or part of a label and part of it. So I just scrubbed the rest of it off, which was not that hard to fucking do. It came right the fuck off. As if it had been soaking in, like, some kind of, like, bleach or cleaner or something like that. So why am I making a big deal about this? Well, for one big reason. I'm a huge Nightmare on Elm Street fan, and I'm an even bigger horror movie fan, and I love horror movie memorabilia. That's why I kept the box. Hell, I even kept the little fucking stupid, like, you know, styrofoam that went in between the glasses so they wouldn't fucking scratch or break. And the fucking, it's just made so poorly. Like, just shit is just made so crappy by NECA. And they've made other shoddy crap before that breaks real easily and cracks real easily. Case in point, this NECA Jason Voorhees bobblehead, which is made to bobble, of course. And look at that giant chunk coming out of the back of his head. And no, ladies and gentlemen, he did not fall. No, ladies and gentlemen, nothing hit him. And no, ladies and gentlemen, I did not break him. The people at the store broke him, demonstrating his bobble, because if you look close, that's where he would bobble. And, you know, the guy at the store said he might have shook it maybe a little harder than he should have, but maybe no harder than what I'm shaking it now. But it's a fucking bobblehead. It's made to bobble. And that fucking thing right off. And I know I have other shit from NECA. I know I do. I wouldn't know where to begin to try and dig it out. And you can clearly see right there that it's proof that it's made by NECA. And if you also look close, I've always been very careful with this. And it's just gotten tiny little nicks and little marks and shit over the years. And it just sucks because it's really cool. Now, I got him on discount, of course, because, you know, he cracked at the store. But I'm not saying that everything that NECA makes is shitty, and this is not a video that is, you know, meant to be hating on NECA. Keep in mind this was made in 2002. Also, check out that Old America Online logo on the bottom. That's pretty cool. But the point I'm trying to make is, you know, I love collectibles just as much as the next person, but they just don't make quality collectibles anymore. And they also don't put the effort or the specialization or the uniqueness into these items that they used to. They just don't make them the way that you would want them to be made. And I have a lot of collector's items from the 80s and early 90s and, you know, early 80s and late 70s and, You know, I have old electrical stuff from the 70s, and it works great, and it's still, you know, ticking. The heart's still ticking. I have old, you know, kitchen stuff. And, you know, I just don't understand why things aren't built well anymore. I just don't. I mean, I know why. Like, I know the politics behind it and the finances behind it. But, you know, it's just irritating to me because I wish that I was more excited to collect these new items that everybody is talking about. But it's just not worth it. It honestly is not worth it. And I guarantee you, if this was like an original Freddy Krueger shot glass from like the 80s or some shit, or early 90s, I bet your fucking ass it would be in like the best condition, and like it would like the label would have been like inside the fucking glass, you know what I mean? But instead, they just, it's like an iron-on a t-shirt, and it's fucking crooked. And yeah, so this was Jazzy's thoughts for the day. If you guys ever wonder why I don't really collect newer memorabilia, or why I don't really seem that interested in new memorabilia, well, shit like this is why. So, that's great. Now I have a clear fucking double shot glass that, you know, never gonna use. So, anyhow, this has been Jazzy Jeff. Thanks always for watching. Take care.